Takadosh Boker Or Masechet Ketubot Daf Ain. Yeah, Shuf Ain. Yeah, he comes and he says as follows. This is a new perek. Perek Shvi'i, the 7th chapter. Yeah, we just finished the perek Shishi. Okay? So says the Mishnah, Hamadiret ishto mile'enot lo. Imagine a person comes and he makes a neder that his wife is not allowed to benefit from him. So now he cannot come and give her, right, parnasa. And now this is one of the Tanai Ketubah. So what happens? Ad shloshim yom, until 30 days, ya'amid parnas. He has to make a parnas. Yeah, you heard. What does it mean a parnas? Somebody that's going to make sure that he's going to take care of giving parnasa to the wife. And then he's going to be in tzedakhovah, mezonot. Now, if he doesn't do that, yater mikan, if it's going to be more than 30 days, yotzi v'yiten ketubah, immediately, right now. He has to divorce her, and he has to pay up her ketubah. Rabbi Yehuda says, right? This is talking about B'Yisrael ze chodesh echad yekayem. U'shnayim yotzi v'yiten. He says, if it's a Jew, regular Jew that's son of Kohen, so therefore, he's allowed to take her back. So if he made the neder until chodesh echad yekayem, it's going to be 2 months, then no. Yotzi v'yiten ketubah. Bekohen. If we're talking about a kohen, yeah, so then what happens? Shnei chodeshim yikayem, shlosha yotzi v'yiten ketubah. Why? We're going to have a little bit more mercy on the kohen, because if he divorces her, kaddish, he can never take her back. So we're not, if it's by Israel, so okay, we're going to be a little bit more lenient, because worst case scenario, he could always take her back. You understand? Sometimes, right, they make the same mistake twice. Yeah, but he'll take her back. But if it's going to be a kohen, he can't make a mistake. You understand? Huh? So fine. Okay, next. Imagine right now a person comes and he says, makes a neder on his wife, she's not allowed to come and eat a certain fruit. He doesn't want her to eat melon, watermelon, grapes, I don't know what, whatever reason. Yeah? Yotzi v'yiten ketubah. So what happens? He says over here, right? He has to come and he has to divorce her and give her the ketubah. Rabbi Yehuda says, "B'Yisrael yom echad yikayem shnayim yotzi v'yiten ketubah." By a Jew, if it's only that he made the neder for 1 day, and today you can't make this, so then fine. If it's going to be 2 days, he has to divorce her and give her the ketubah. If it's going to be with a kohen, 2 days he keeps her. But if it's going to be for 3 days or more, so then he would have to divorce her and give her the ketubah. Next. Imagine right now a person comes and he's madiret ishto that she cannot put on a certain adornment. Let's say he comes and he says, I don't want to put on makeup. Yeah, yotzi v'yiten ketubah. Right? He has to be motzi v'yiten ketubah. Rabbi Yosef says, ba'aniyot. If it's talking about an aniyot, shelo natan kitzpah, that he didn't make a kitzpah of the neder, which means he just said stam. Right? Uba ashirot, and to do with ashirot, right? He comes and he says, shloshim yom. What does it mean, shloshim yom? He comes and he says, we're talking about 30 days, right? Or more. Okay? Which means that by the aniyot, right? Rabbi Yosef comes and he says, by a woman that's an ani, that anyway she's not mitkashetet. So therefore he's not chayav the garsha because he did not give her kitzbah, right? So he comes and he says, uba ashirot. And when we're talking about rich women, but they're always doing it. If it's going to be 30 days or more, then yotzi v'yiten ketubah. But if it's going to be less, he's not chayav lehotzia. Says the Gemara. Gemara Daf Ain Amud Aleph 78:1 towards the bottom. Gemara. So ask the Gemara. I don't understand. The husband has a shi'abud to his wife. You understand what that means? The husband is mishubad to liishto. To do what? To give her parnasa. So if right now he's mishubad liishto, so hechi matzimadala. How could he come and how could he? Yeah. How could he do this? Yeah. Does he have the power? Does he have the power to do such a thing? He doesn't have such a power. But now we learned in the Mishnah. Imagine a person comes and he says, you know what, he makes a neder, you're not going to benefit from what I make. The husband, there's talking about for the woman that did this, the husband doesn't even have to go for a nedarim. Why? Because she's meshuberet lebala. So just like Just like that the woman, she's mishubed lebala. She comes and she makes a vow that whatever she makes of salary does not go to the husband. He doesn't even have to do a faran nedarim. Why? Because it's not chal. It doesn't take into effect. Same thing the other way around. Alma, given the mishabdele. You see from here, once there's a shi'abud, love kol kimined, you can't take away the shi'abud. So the same thing here. He has to give her parnasa. What do you care now that he comes and he says, neder, he's not going to give her parnasa? What does that help? Hakanami, given the mishubah la, love kol kimined, mafkel leshubada. So answers the Gemara, he says, no. The husband could come and tell his wife, yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to give you parnasa. You work, and whenever your work is yours. And then I don't have to give you parnasa. And therefore, since the husband could actually come and say that, right? The Fa'ina Mubet 70b, it's like as if that he said, right? The Fa'ina Mubet So therefore, when he comes and he makes a neder, I'm not going to give her parnasa. It's like he's telling her, you know what? You work, right? Are you listening? You work, yeah, and you keep your own money, and I don't have to give you money anymore. That's what he comes, and that's what he says. So ask the Gemara, if you're going to tell me like Rav Huna Amar Rav, right? The following Dhamma, Rav Huna Amar Rav says Rav Huna Amar Rav, a woman could come and say, okay, fine, you know what? Don't give me parnasan, I'm not going to work. Because since the entire Ikara Takanat Chachamim was for the woman, so therefore she could come and she say, you know what? I'm not going to work for you. And don't give me parnasan. It's up to her. So if she could come, meaning according to your svara, the fact that the husband could say, you know what? You take your own parnasa, and I'm not going to give you parnasa. You're working. Whatever you work is yours, and then I don't have to give you anything. The fact that he could say that, so therefore, it's going to be okay, and he has to do a farat nedari. So ask the Gemara, but 1 second, according to that then, so then why doesn't it work vice versa also? The fact that she could come and she could say, right? The fact that she could come and she could say, what? So then why am I in Utzirich? Why does it not have to do a farat nedari? Lema, we should say, it's the exact same thing. Ella, but rather, lo teima naaseh, ella beomer latziim maaseh yadayich bimzonotaych. He says it's not talking about, right, that a person can come and say through his neder, right, whatever is being done. But rather you have to say, which means that's how he's going to get out of the mizunot. He's first going to say, right, you take all your parnasa and you use it for your mizunot. Right? That means whatever you're making, it's yours. It's a present. It's yours. But I don't have to give you parnasa anymore. And then what happens? Then he makes a neder. Once he makes a neder now, that's what's going to be chal. Meaning beforehand, you're right, it doesn't help. Because beforehand, he still has the shi'abud. And until he doesn't get rid of that shi'abud, he cannot make the neder. But if he already tells her, you work, when you're working, correct? Yeah, you're working. Whatever you do is yours. Now he can make the neder. And now if he makes the neder, it's going to be chal. So says the Gemara, Yachiv, so, parnas lamala. So then, why does he have to put a parnas? We said in the Mishnah, if a person comes and he tells his wife, right, that I'm not going to give you parnasa, what happens? You put a parnas, and the parnas will take care of his wife. You heard? Yeah, okay. So the question is, so why do you have to put a parnas? Obviously, we were talking about a case where he told her that the money that you make for your work is yours. And if the money that you, and then he made the neder, so why do you have to make a parnas? The money that she makes is going to be hers. Answers the Gemara what Isaac just said now, the lo sabka. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough money. So therefore, since it wasn't enough money, the parnas is supposed to complement, sorry. Right? It's supposed to complement, right, whatever was lacking. Which means if she comes and she's working, but she's not making enough money, he still has to give her the rest. So therefore, that's the... Even if it was going to be that it wasn't enough, so then again we go back to the original question, which is basically, if we're talking about then that it's not enough, so how's the neder going to be chal? If the money was not enough, does not suffice to maintain her, he's obligated, he has a lien. His lien is to his wife, he has to give her parnasa. So how's it going to be chal? He makes a neder, how's it chal? You understand? So Ravashi said, said no. It is enough for the main staples, for bread, for meat, wine, but it's not for the little tiny things. So therefore, since it's for the main staple, that's all enough. You want ta'ora motarot, you want this and that, you want to eat the crembos and all these extra things. I don't know. That's already extra. You understand? You need bread.
I got crembos extra.
Yeah. You need bread, right? The bamba. Yeah, whatever. You understand? The luxus. Yeah. So says the Gemara, Hani Dvarim Tanim. What is the Dvarim Tanim? So hey Dami, what's the case? If she's accustomed to eating it, she's accustomed to eating it. And if she's not accustomed to eating it, one more time. If she always comes and she eats la creme de la creme, la crembo, so then she's accustomed to it. So he's obligated to give it to her. And if she doesn't eat it, so why does he have to put a parnas to give it to her? Right? Well, all of a sudden, now you need a parnas to give her things that she doesn't usually eat. Answers the Gemara, la tzricha, this is what Ronen was saying before. No. She used to eat the crembos in her father's house. So therefore, now that she comes and she gets married, right? He has the money. So since he has the money, so he has to give it to her also. So therefore, he comes and he says, since he has to give it to her, that's why those are the dvarim tani. Okay? The amra lay, because she could tell him, until now that you didn't make anah, I was still eating on your table, and still you gave me everything. But now you need a neder, he can't do it anymore. So since you were the one that needed neder, so therefore these are the dvarim tanim that she is still obligated to receive from the parnas. So ask the Gemara, this is an interesting question. Why at Shloshim Yom? I gave you guys an answer. I said that maybe a Jew came into his head for 30 days. You understand? But why Shloshim Yom? Right? The Mishnah said if it's for 30 days, we say Shwai, okay, give him some time. If it's more, Kaddish. Force him to give the get, the Gamarnu. So says the Gemara, Shloshim Yom, and says the Gemara, Shloshim Yom lo shmiya be'inshe v'lo zilzul b'umilta. Until 30 days, people don't hear about it, and therefore it's not a zilzul. If it's more than 30 days, Shamei be'inshe v'zila b'umilta, then it's going to be a zilzul. That what? That the husband, meaning until a month, people don't hear about things. So since people don't hear about things until a month, we say, you know what, okay, fine. Why? Because it's still under the cover. If it's more than a month, people, and by the way, you should know that there's a lot of cases of that. There's cases of Shalom Bayit, right? That if they would have kept things under the cover, everything would have been okay. What happens? They come and they start saying things, and all of a sudden now, to put them back together, it's double as hard. Why? Because now people start knowing about it. Now there's also busha involved, and now there's this, and now everybody has their opinion, and then and everyone gets it. So it becomes a problem. So therefore, that's why after 30 days, it's a completely different halacha. But if you want, we could have another answer. Really, he made the neder when she was an arusa. So right, and therefore, when she made the neder, she was an arusa. That's why it's going to be chal. So it says the Gemara doesn't count. Why not? Because he's not obligated to give it to her. He says, Arusa meet the mezone. I said, I don't understand what the Gemara is talking about. And Arusa, you don't have to give it to eat. So what do I care now that the husband made the net that he's not going to give it to eat? Anyway, he doesn't have to give it to eat. So says the Gemara, says Ronen. He's on fire today. He was late. He was already supposed to marry her. And he didn't marry her. So now he's obligated to. The time we learned the Mishnah. And she eats truma. So says the Gemara, okay, fine. So Maishna now at Shoshim Yom. So he says at Shoshim Yom avit shliach shlichuteh. Until 30 days, a shliach does a shlichut. But more than that, no. Which means like this: if I come and I put you as a shaliach, what's a shaliach? You're going to come and you're going to do whatever is A, B, C, D. So until 30 days, you're still good in it. Usually after 30 days, people stop. You understand? It's like a job. You come and you say, okay, fine. You know what? You guys, every single week, right? Somebody else is going to take out the breakfast. Right? What happens? It could be that maybe at the end they get stuck with one person. Why? Because people don't do the shlichut. You understand? People, somebody else does it. I don't need to do it. I'm not going to break my head. Let him break the head. You understand? So people don't do it. After 30 days, people don't do these things. For you could answer another answer. Then he said, no. He made the nether when she was an usa, but when she was an usa, but then he got married. So says the Gemara, he said, "Savra v'kibla." Right? Remember, svara the savra v'kibla means she already knew this and she accepted him. Meaning, why in the world is she going to get married to him, knowing that he has an outstanding neder? All right, you understand? I mean, she has a balance, right? What's the balance? He's not going to give her to eat. So why in the world is she going to get married to him? Yeah. So the Amra, because she could say, "Kisfura ani shani yochola lekabel." Which means like this. She thought that, okay, fine, until now, she can't accept because she's in a nusa. The second that she gets married, she thought she could say, now she could get money. But all of a sudden, she realized it was a mistake. That even though she got married, there's still a neder. So now she cannot accept it. Right? She doesn't accept the food. So therefore, that's why he comes in and she says that it was not sabra v'kibla. If Be'emet she already knew that this is going on, sabra v'kibla. This is the way that it is. Imagine a man comes and he tells his wife, he does a prenup before and he tells his wife, listen, I'm going to give you an element. Every single week, $200. Right? You want to go and waste it on, I don't know, that's your problem. But that's what I'm giving you. I'm not giving you a penny more. It was an agreement. There's an agreement. Sabra v'kibla. She accepted it. You understand? And then that's it. There's nothing what to talk about. However, though, here, she made a mistake. But she thought that the one second that she gets married, Be'emet, he has obligated to give the partner sign. She made a mistake. So, Eimar Damri Nachi, when do we say this? Only Legabeh Mumin. Only by Mum do we say such a concept. That Rabbi Meir came and he said that a woman that gets married to a Baal Mum, for example, Mukas Shchim, even though she knew that at the time of the Nisuin she was Mukas Shchim, she could come and she could say afterwards she wants to divorce him. Why? Because she thought that she could say, listen, she thought she could get Parnasah, and now she can't get it. But to do with Parnasah, do we say that? Meaning, to do with the Baal Mum, we allow her to say that. I mean, she comes and she's getting married to some guy that has, I don't know how many blemishes, defects, right? And then afterwards she comes, she gets divorced. You ask her, why do you want to get divorced now? Right? So we don't, in this case, remember, we do allow her to get divorced. Meaning she's the one that's demanding the divorce, not him. So now we ask her, but 1 second, you already knew that he was like this. So she could come and she could say, listen, I thought that I was going to accept things, or I thought, and all of a sudden I saw it was a mistake. So we accept it. Okay, kol hakavod. Okay, you could get divorced. But to do with Parnasah, do we say that? You're right. So therefore we go back to the first of the two answers that we answered before, and not like the last answer. Fine. Until 30 days, we said we put a Parnas. Uparnas lav shirutei ka'avid. This is 1 second. You're putting a Parnas, right? In order to come and to feed your wife. Okay? So he comes and he says now, he says what? He's not going to do his shlichut? He's not going to do his messenger? Why can he do his job? So he says, Ravuna says, because he didn't actually make a shaliach. What happened was he said, anybody that gives parnasah to his wife will not lose out, which means that ultimately he will pay it, but later on. So right now, but he's not going to pay. He cannot pay. So right now, anybody that feeds the wife will not lose. The guy comes, he starts feeding the wife. After 30 days, the guy's going to say, well, barakah. Well, I still didn't see a penny. Well, I'm just going to continue for the next 10 years, and the guy's going to start making a laughing stock on me. He's going to stop. Right? So until 30 days, he does it. After 30 days, he doesn't. So says the Gemara, when he says this, he's not going to do it. But today we learned in the Mishnah, somebody that's in a pit. He says, anybody that listens to me will write a get to his wife. They have to write and they have to give it. So you see from here, is actually mamash, like, you know that for sure they're going to do it. They're going to do the command. So says Gemara, can you compare both cases? There it's just to write something, to write a get. That was no problem. He says kol hazan. He didn't say that he's going to give mizunot, which is a command. He says kol hazan, anybody that does it, which means that he's not going to lose, which means there's no mamash shlichut to do it. It's that anybody that does it won't lose out. You understand? He says, what about bedleika? Bedleika, if there's a fire on Shabbat, you're allowed to come outside. You're going to say anybody that turns off the fire is not going to lose. So you're not allowed to tell the goy mefurash turn off the fire. But you're allowed to say anybody that turns off the fire will not lose. So the guy thinks, oh, what does that mean? If I turn off the fire, I'm going to gain. So he's going to do it. Right? But it's a hint. So mefurash. So by Dleika, you see that he says, Dleika lemiutemai. We're not talking through this case. So no. But Dleika was coming to exclude Shari Surim the Shabbat. Okay. Mativ Rabba. Rabba comes and he asks a question from Nedarim. Hamudar hana'a mechavero ve'en lo ma yochal. Imagine a person comes and he makes a neder from his friend. He doesn't have what to eat. Yeah, ve'en lo ma yochal. So what happens is, yelech etzel chavani haragilet. So you could go to the storekeeper. Yomalo, and you could say, ish poli mudar meni. I don't know what to do with him. So he's going to give it, and then he could take from him. One more time, everyone understood? Yeah, I made a neder ana. All of a sudden, I know that he needs. Right? I go to the storekeeper. I come and say, listen, scan this guy. He needs.
Why?
Right?
A friend has an obligation.
What? No, but he wants to give. But he was mudar ana from him. He can't do it. So what does he do? Comes to the storekeeper. He says, listen, scan this guy needs. What are we going to do? So I'll take care of it. He comes and he gives it to him, and then the friend comes and he gives the storekeeper the money. And now that's what he's able to do it. He bypasses the neder, right? So he comes and he says, So says the Gemara, here it's permitted. But if you're going to say anybody that comes and gives him to eat is not going to lose out, doesn't help. So says the Gemara, no, lo mi baye kamar. You didn't need to say it. Lo mi baye, not only if you said kol hazanim mafsid, dile alma kamar, you're saying it to the entire world, and it's not considered shlichut, and therefore it's mutar to do it. Avalahai, but here, kevan da ragil etzol kazik amale, keman da amale zil hav leat, right, dummy. Meaning, this guy, you know, he always goes to, let's say, one of these stores. So since you know that he's always going to this chavani, it's like you're telling me, Furash, you give it, and I'm giving it to you. So he says, Kamash Manan, that it's still going to be permitted. Gufa, we also learned in the Braita. Somebody's going to be mudarana from his friend, and he doesn't have what to eat. So you're going to go to the chavani, which is Ragil Etzol, and he's going to tell him, this person is going to be mudarana. I don't know what to do with him. Again, he's able to do this. Beto livno, the same thing if he has his house to build, right? And he doesn't have money, and he needs a loan, right? Ugdero ligdor, or to make a fence, so they'll ligzor, to reap the field. You go to the workers and you tell them, they're going to do it, and then he's going to come and he's going to collect the money from him. So you see from here that it does work. Okay? Imagine they're traveling and he doesn't have what to eat. They're both traveling together, but he doesn't know what to eat, but he's not allowed to have anah from him. He gives it to somebody else as matana, and then that person will come and give it to him to eat. And it's going to be permitted. He mentioned that there's nobody there. You put it on top of a stone or the fence, and you just say, it's hefker for whoever wants. Another guy, he comes and he takes it. It's going to be permitted. Rabbi Yosef comes and he says, you're not allowed to do it from hefker. From hefker, it doesn't work. But if it's not hefker, right, it does. By the way, you should see what it is, gava. You know gava is? Right? You know what gava is? Yeah? Gava. Think about it. The guy has nothing what to eat, but because he need a neder, he's not going to come and put down his head, his nose down, and come and do latira neder. He says with that. So the other guy, in order to help him, he has to do a whole like this in order to help the guy. The guy doesn't want to put his head down. Doesn't want to put his nose down. Like mamash, that's the gava. I'm telling you, gava is the worst thing in the world. Think about it, right? That he lost his entire olam haba because of gava. The one with David Melech. Last time, Rava says, "My ta'amad Rabbi Yosef." What's reasoning Rabbi Yosef that you can't do it from hefker? Because of the story that happened in Bet Choron, which was a Mishnah Nedarim. That basically the Madir gave his money as a present to somebody else, right? In order that he could give it. And then he did it. And then what happened was, it's not going to be a matana, right? Because he did it only for him to benefit from it. So if it wasn't a matana. So because of this story, so they made a decree that you can't do it from hefker, because if not, maybe you're going to make a mistake in hefker, and it's going to be